Why are West Ham United so terrible right now? It's 2023 and the Hammers had just lifted their first major trophy in 58 years. The feeling was that they were set to become a stable top half Premier League club. Amazing talents like Declan Rice and Jarrod Bowen showed they could play amongst the best, and their Europa Conference League win ensured another season of European football for the East London side. That success seemed to give David Sullivan and Karen Brady the platform to pursue their vision for West Ham, to change the club's trajectory forever. And since buying the club, in some part, they have changed West Ham forever. They moved from Upton Park to the London Stadium, achieved European silverware, and were spending money the fans could only have dreamed of. Between 2023 and 2024, West Ham were delivering some really good results in Europe. Their 5-0 win against Freiburg stood out as a testament of positive things to come on the pitch, while other players like Lucas Paqueta and Musa Kudos showing why the club signed them for big money in the first place. Unfortunately, in 2025, something has really gone wrong. We are constantly hearing about fans boycotting matches in protest of those operating the club, while in itself has affected attendances and performances on the pitch. Things have become so drastic that the phrase "making other teams look good" has become a talking point, as recent as their match against Brentford. While this argument is hard to disagree with, it's understandable why fans are angry. While many YouTubers and pundits have thrown in their 2 pence, it's something I want to look into as well and assess what West Ham can do to put things back on track. The lack of modern governance. Since purchasing a 50% stake in West Ham in 2010, Sullivan and Brady are unusually involved in football operations compared to most modern clubs, rather than delegating full authority to a sporting director or technical team. This would include deciding on transfers, contracts, budgets, club philosophy, and long-term strategy. More so in modern Premier League clubs, you would find numerous experts in a variety of roles, from CEO or managing directors to a director of football. In 2018, Mario Huselos was named the sporting director, only lasting until the following year. It took until 2023 for another sporting director, in the shape of Mark Noble, to be present at the club. Between this time, David Sullivan and Karen Brady played significant roles in decision-making processes. Evidently, meddling from the board has not gone down so well. The West Ham Fan Advisory Board have highlighted this in their vote of no confidence on the board, issuing a damning verdict on the state of affairs the board acts up, stating, quote, "We need professional full-time executives with both football and commercial expertise, and no further board interference. No more dependence on favoured agents. In short, a move to a competitive professional leadership. Football isn't just business. It's building a team that can compete season after season. And that seems to be the part West Ham's owners still haven't figured out." Squad construction and financial decisions. Relevant to everything already mentioned, David Gold's death in 2023 removed one of the long-standing figures in the boardroom. A sad loss in every sense, regardless of the club's highs and lows. Gold joined Sullivan in 2010 with the ambition to stabilise West Ham and move the club forward. And in football, the quickest way to make a leap forward is through smart recruitment. With European success and strong Premier League revenues, money has been spent, a lot of it, with transfer fees regularly in the tens of millions. But the squad Nuno Espirito Santo has inherited tells a worrying story. A big outlay doesn't always build a competitive team. West Ham's transfer debt has risen again in the 2023-24 accounts, and former West Ham midfielder Don Hutchinson described the current squad as one of the worst they've had for years. Even Graham Potter admitted during his spell in charge, signing players is easy, it doesn't mean the team's going to improve. From record fees on strikers like Sebastian Haller and Gianluca Scamacca, who never fit the system, to deals like Nikola Vlasic and Danny Ings offering little value, the squad has become unbalanced. Poor planning has pushed West Ham close to profit and sustainability issues, a result of reactive spending instead of proactive squad building. Stadium and infrastructure moves. The Bowling Ground, more commonly known as Upton Park, stood against the passage of time as one of the most recognisable, appreciated and oldest football grounds in the top level of English football, being the home of some of the most talented footballers who are now household names. It was decided to increase revenue and capacity. A new home was a part of Sullivan's, Golds and Brady's plans. However, instead of designing a new home for West Ham suited for football, they secured a 99-year lease to play their football at the London Stadium, home of the 2012 Olympic Games. As it is owned by the London Legacy Development Corporation, West Ham have left control on the stadium's identity, atmosphere and fan experience, which in turn contributes to a disconnect between their commercial ambition and football identity. Not to mention the fact that the London Stadium is not a football stadium. It is a multi-purpose venue, hence the ever-pondering feeling that there was a racetrack between the pitch and the crowd. With these in mind, it seems like there is a loss of home identity and atmosphere, as well as infrastructure and commercial limitations. Yes, the move to a bigger stadium was ambitious, but in hindsight, when big infrastructure moves don't align with on-pitch results and culture, the disconnect damages team morale, fan support and ultimately performance. Fan relations and public perception. With so much to go over in this section, why don't we let the research do the talking? TBR Football breaks down the broken promises. From being told that the money saved by not having to build a new stadium would protect fans from ticket price rises, to being promised a world-class team. We've already covered how the move to the London Stadium hasn't taken West Ham to the next level, and how the West Ham Fans Advisory Board have pointed out that these promises of a world-class stadium and squad have not come to fruition 10 years after they were made. The relationship between fans and the owners could not be more strained, with meetings and communication not amounting to anything productive. Instead, it is as if the board are trying to calm the flames from fans who want more than just a stable and sustainable club, but one that can produce respectable performances, not only on the pitch but in the boardroom. All of this and more has resulted in protests, boycotting match days, empty seats at home grounds, anti-board chants and banners directed at Sullivan and Brady. It has made the London Stadium an easy venue to play at as an away team, which also affects the players when those who do attend turn negative. From an outsider's perspective, it is always a catch-22. Bad performances lead to a bad atmosphere, which lead to worse performances. Because when the culture, identity and atmosphere all start to crumble, the blame doesn't fall on the fans or the players, it falls on those who build this version of West Ham. Managerial instability and interference. When the club was bought in 2010, it was Gianfranco Zola who was managing the team. However, it became clear immediately in May of that year that Gold and Sullivan wanted a more experienced manager. So Avram Grant took the role, because of course he did. Since Zola, many different managers with different philosophies have been in the Hammers dugout. Grant, Allardyce, Bilic, Moyes, Pellegrini, Moyes again, Lopetegui, Potter and now Santo. One thing that stands out amongst this conga line of managers coming and going is the lack of long-term planning, where staff and players cannot feel settled once they join. Instead of choosing managers who fit a long-term football vision, Sullivan and Brady keep choosing managers to suit whatever crisis they've created. Each new manager brings their own squad demands, tactical style and staff turnover. And when it inevitably goes wrong, the finger is always pointed at the board and the uncontrollable need to interfere. Without addressing the strategic mistakes being made, the pattern will just repeat, whether it comes from saying the wrong thing at the wrong time or giving it to fans who want attacking expansive football. With constant managerial upheaval, the current blend of players representing West Ham have strengths suited to wildly different systems, rather than being recruited for one coherent identity, led by a manager allowed to stay longer than a season. Misfit comes to mind. Arguments being pushed into the lens of West Ham's demise, which include an overemphasis on commercial success over footballing identity and failure to cultivate a sustainable footballing culture, are all just as relevant. The argument why is West Ham so terrible right now didn't happen overnight, and is the consequence of years of reactivity over productivity. So, in the grand scheme of things, what can West Ham do to have some form of stability on the pitch and bring the fans back on their side? Establishing a stable footballing structure would be a good start, giving the sporting director clear authority to make footballing decisions without the board breathing down their neck, and changing operating styles, unlike some other clubs who have somewhat thrived with this clear direction, like Brighton and Brentford. Smarter squad building. Selling high before buying high is achievable, as it allows the club to scout for younger talent with high resale value profiles. Commit to one managerial project, lasting longer than a year, which is likely the toughest storm to weather, as it would include supporting them through short-term fluctuations. Modernise infrastructure and academy pathways, clear governance separation, and, for me personally, the most important aspect of West Ham solving their issues, rebuilding fan trust. Because of increased transparency, measurable goals, investment in matchday atmosphere, and sticking to promises, it would hopefully make the London Stadium more of a fortress rather than a reminder of everything the club has failed to deliver. So what do you guys think of the current situation of West Ham? Be sure to comment what you think the club should prioritise in returning to some form of stability. Like, comment, subscribe, and as always, I will see you soon.